When we left off, the Toa Metru were strung up in cocoons high above the city. Their mutations complete, their cocoons burst, and they start falling to their death. Or so they think. As they're falling, they're very suddenly snatched out of the air by these freaky little bastards. Their bodies are almost human, but they have heads that are very similar to that of the Rakshi, and little propellers on their back that help them fly. These are the Roodaka. They used to be the Toa Haga. This Toa team used to function as Makuta's personal bodyguards before he went darkside. Makuta had stolen the Mask of Light from its rightful place to prevent the rise of the 7th Toa, so the Haga broke into his fortress and stole it from him. At the same time, they wanted to make sure that Makuta wasn't going to be a problem anymore. But guess who intervened? None other than fucking Roodaka. She put a humiliating end to their efforts by transforming them into these things. Problem is, now she's made an enemy of 6 flying kobolds that thwart her exploits constantly. Whoops! Oh, after saving the Toa's life, the Roodaka explained the situation that they're in. The Toa have been infected by something called Hordika venom. This Visorak venom poisons and slowly mutates the host. When done to animals, it usually just turns them into scarier animals, but when done to sapient life, the story's a little bit different. Hordika basically means half-beast. And what very often happens when you're mutated into a half-beast is that you eventually become a full beast. It's been barely 5 minutes, and the Toa can already feel a difference. This shit is not to be fucked with. Supposedly, however, there is an antidote, and it's provided by a Rahi known as Kitongu. The problem with this is that there's only one, and he may or may not exist. The Roodaka are split on whether or not this thing is even real. After a lot of yelling, the Toa eventually reach the consensus that they have to find Kitongu if they're actually going to save the Matoran, because this just isn't working. So their 3 objectives now are to cure themselves, get the Matoran, and potentially destroy Roodaka. Oh boy. What is this build? Look at that! I get they're supposed to be mutants, but good god. You could have made the 2 different sized arms work, but this is just, it's so stubby, and what is this? This build is so fucking cursed. There's a reason we talk about the Mata build, and the Metru build, and the Bionicle build, but we don't talk about the fucking Hordika build. Because no one in their right goddamn mind uses the Hordika build. Some good things have come of this, though. This armor is actually great, and the Hordika body can be used really well for Titan builds. Oh, also, this fucking thing. This is one of the single most useful pieces ever, in my humble opinion. It's definitely in my top 10 most used parts. Anyway, yeah, I just had to get that out of the way. The Hordika build is cursed. Like a lot of 2005 builds, honestly. The Roodaka are cute, though. I can't find my concealer, so you have to deal with this. So now that we've officially entered the Hordika arc, it's important for us to talk about one particular person. We're going to talk about the reason the Bionicle community is jam-packed with simps. You already know where I'm going with this. It's Roodaka. You might remember that I briefly talked about her species, the Vortix. Roodaka is the viceroy of the Visorak horde. She is viceroy to a stealth named Sidorak, also known as Cuckbot 9000. I'll do a whole separate video on him. Anyway, the Vortix are culturally predisposed to being conniving sociopaths, and Roodaka really takes the cake. She once tried to gain favor with the Dark Hunters by mutating the traitorous Toa known as Nadiki, but since Roodaka only wanted Dark Hunter training and didn't actually want to join the organization, the Shadowed One just told her to fuck off. So instead, she joined the Brotherhood of Makuta. For a while, Roodaka and Cuckatron were some of Makuta's most trusted servants, constantly vying for Daddy's attention. When he was imprisoned in the Toa Seal, he summoned these 2 telepathically with their Visorak horde to take over the island. That's all on her for now. Anything else would be spoilers. In case you forgot, I still have an orchestral synth metal album out. Go download it. Today we're going to talk about Sidorak. Goddamn. Sidorak is a stealth from the island of Stealth. Stealth is basically divided up into 2 castes. One is more or less the warrior class, like Kreka, and the other one is the tiny dick babyback bitch class, like Sidorak. Sidorak was still a warrior in the loose sense of the word. He made a name for himself on Stealth by betraying people and taking credit for other people's victories. He got away with having absolutely no fighting prowess for a while. His propensity for radiating small dick energy really bit him in the ass when he tried to join the Dark Hunters and washed out of training almost immediately. But the Brotherhood of Makuta snatched him up because Makuta really liked his knack for treachery. This is where he met Roodaka. Sidorak tried to cultivate an alliance between the 2 of them, but as a registered bad bitch, Roodaka smelled his small dick energy from a mile away. So they remained fiercely competitive, for a time. Then a particular event happened where Roodaka saved Makuta's ass. We'll get to that. But Sidorak took the credit. So Makuta appointed him king of the Visorak, and then Roodaka became his viceroy. I got a new chair and I don't know how to adjust the height, so I'm slouching. So Rotuka spinners have come up a couple of times, but I've never actually fully addressed them. In terms of Rotuka spinners, there's a lot going on. For the Toa, their Rotuka spinners really just are a special way of manifesting their elemental powers. All Visorak Rotuka have the ability to stun, but individual Visorak also have special powers attributed to them. Some shoot acid, some numb you, and some fill you with an intense burning. Fun! Roodaka and Sidorak also have spinners. Sidorak's spinner makes you completely obedient to him, interestingly enough, and Roodaka's allows her to mutate a target however she wants. That's how she made these guys. Speaking of the Rohaga, their spinners are interesting. Rotuka spinners are pure energy, but they manifest themselves as a solid thing, so you could technically surf them if you wanted to, which is kind of cool. But the Rohaga actually use them as propellers, which is how they have such an easy time trolling Roodaka. Personally, I really like these. The lore behind them is great, and they're really fun to launch. Ka-chow! Yeah, bullseye! Hello! So remember when I told you that the Toa were going to go look for Kitongu? That's like half true. They are looking for him, like, sort of. It's in a more passive capacity, and more actively, they're looking for parts to build airships to transport all the sleeping Matoran off the island. Anyway. The Toa split up on different missions with their respective Rohaga to find airship parts, basically. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch it. We'll start with Nuju. Nuju and Kulis are in Metru trying to find parts for airships and I believe also schematics, but I'm not entirely sure. Now Nuju's Rohaga, Kulis, really likes birds and shit. All the Rohaga kind of specialize in animals in some way and Kulis specialized in bird law. And he can like talk to them. Nuju doesn't know this yet. All Nuju is thinking at this point is, oh fuck, I have to deal with this fucking kobold. But then they get ambushed by Visorak. It would seem our heroes are turbo fucked. But Kulis does a bird call. And then a giant flock of big fuck off birds starts dive bombing the Visorak, which buys our heroes time to escape. And Nuju's like, huh, neato. Moving on, next we have Onua. Onua and his Rohaga, Bamanga, are going into the archives to try and find levitation discs for the airships. But the archives are like completely fucked up. Most of the Rahi have either escaped or are in the process of escaping, as Onua unfortunately finds out at the archives entrance when he gets attacked by something with 6 legs. But he has barely any time to deal with it because then a Visorak shows up and attacks the thing with 6 legs. It's like if you found a centipede in your room and then all of a sudden that centipede got attacked by a very large spider. So like, no more centipede, but now you have to deal with a fucking spider. Thankfully, Bamanga absolutely fucks up this Visorak. Need I remind you that this is the approximate size difference, and this guy got absolutely 187'd by this guy. With that threat neutralized, at least for the moment, they head into the archives. But not before something strange starts to happen to Onua. He hears a bunch of wolves howling in the distance, and instead of being like, ah shit, fucking wolves, he's like, I should join them. I'm just gonna take off into the forest and follow my fucking primal bliss. Hordika venom. That's some pretty powerful shit. And it only gets worse. Bamanga manages to keep Wanua's mental Hordika fuckery in control by being like, hey, Onua, remember the archives? Remember books? So then Onua, instead of running off with the wolves, is like, oh yeah, words and shit! So they go into the archives, and besides finding the levitation disc that they were looking for, Onua also manages to find the archives data on the Visorak. He's basically like, yep, I was referencing this earlier. It's just as bad as I thought. And Bamanga's like, great job, buddy. Then, to their severe misfortune, they get ambushed by an extra thick Visorak. The subspecies is known as Kagarak. Kagarak Rotuka have a very special ability which can basically be summed up as flip face up, banish target creature. Getting hit by one of these things will, I shit you not, get you sent to the Shadow Realm. And because Wanua's day couldn't get any worse, there's actually 2 of them. The 2 heroes are flanked as one of the Kagarak launches its spinner. However, both Onua and Bamanga roll nat 20s on their athletics checks, and the spinner misses them and banishes the other Kagarak. It's super badass, except this guy just says fuck it, reloads, and banishes them anyway. So Onua and Bamanga are trapped in the Shadow Realm, the in-between, the very Black Lodge. I don't know, I forget what it's actually called, and I'm too lazy to check. Wanua's like, how fucked are we? And Bamanga's like, it's not looking great, my dude. But then Wanua's like, oh my god, something just touched me. And they realize that, holy shit, Onua just brushed against the Kagarak that's trapped in here with them. And they both have the epiphany of like, hey, wait a minute, these guys probably know how to get out of here, don't they? Like, they probably banish themselves by accident all the time. Like, yeah, we've all nutted on ourselves by accident, right? Right? I didn't have to make that joke. So they follow close behind this thing as silently as possible so that it doesn't notice them and, like, you know, kill them. And as they do so, they keep hearing other noises in the dark because there's so much other shit trapped in the Shadow Realm. I honestly wish this had been explored more because it's really fucking cool. But their plan pays off and eventually they're able to follow this fucker out into the daylight. Right into the waiting arms of Sidorak. This motherfucker knew. He bait and switched them. Ooh, you crafty bitch. Man, cliffhangers really suck, don't they? Let's move on to Matau. Matau is looking for airship parts with his Rohaga, named Iruni. And when confronted with the prospect of being stuck as a mutant, he starts having a mental breakdown that sounds like, fuck, I'm gonna be ugly forever! Very similar energy to Emperor Cusco discovering that he's a llama. So Matau's thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna be ugly, as opposed to, oh my god, I'm gonna be a fucking animal. Like, priorities, dude. Which seems a little weird until you look back in the books and you realize that Greg very intentionally wrote Matau to be a narcissist. Like, he's constantly talking about being like a good-looking Toa hero and shit like that. Seriously, it's in like every single one of the books. Oh, also, Matau definitely wants to fuck Nokama. Like, it's not even up for debate. He basically flat out says it. And that becomes so much more pronounced when he's in Hordika form. Like, okay, Matau's a self-interested, horny motherfucker. Love isn't canon my ass. Oh shit, the plot. The 2 get cornered by Visorak in an airship hangar, and that's it. Moving on. Up next, Nokama. Nokama and her companion, the Rahaga named Gaki, are swimming to the Great Temple. They're doing so to get a hold of the powerful Konohi masks that are inside so that they can bring them back to the island of Nui, because those might be, important. As they're swimming, Nokama begins to realize, oh shit, man, I feel a lot more in tune with the water. Like, her animal side is really fucking with the waves, my guy. So she's like, I could get used to this. But that feeling and the circumstances surrounding it immediately gets switched up when she reaches the Great Temple. Because despite knowing that she needs to go in, she feels herself instinctively recoil. She asks Gaki why this is, and Gaki explains it as follows. The temple is holy ground. The Great Temple is sacred ground through which Nui communicates with the Toa. However, Nokama's not a full Toa anymore. She's a Hordika, a half-beast. And the beast side really doesn't fuck with the Great Spirit. Her instincts tell her to run because gods abandoned her. That's fucked. My god. With tremendous effort, Nokama manages to center herself, channel the Toa within her, and make it into the temple. But as she's about to enter the hall with all the Konohi masks, she's confronted by a puny little motherfucker. He's like about a foot tall and standing in her way. And she tries to get him to move, and is promptly knocked on her ass. What the fuck? So she tries again. The result is predictable. This happens multiple times, because instead of listening to the intellectual Toa side of herself, she just has this animal thing in her telling her to go, 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 and brute force her way past this puny little motherfucker. She ends up sort of coming back to her senses by accident when she launches a water Rotuka at this little dude, and it creates just a shower of water, which reveals a silhouette behind the little dude. The silhouette of a much bigger dude. This creature is known as a Gate Guardian. What a Gate Guardian essentially does is it turns itself invisible and projects a smaller version of itself in front of it to confuse its prey. In the weirdest way possible. And this is why Nokama was getting fucked up. So now that Nokama can actually see her true foe, she's able to easily outwit and defeat it. In a triumphant rage, she pins her foe to the ground and yells, I am a Toa! I am! I am! I am the view! I am the table! I am all this! Man, if there's anything the TikTok algorithm loves, it's Metallica and Lou Reed references. Jesus fucking Christ, I did not think I'd be able to make this joke. Fucking anyway, she realizes she overreacted and is kind of horrified with herself. But Gaki tells her, hey, you pulled yourself back, that's what's important. Which, yes, is true. Good for her. But okay, so Nokama goes into the mask chamber that she was trying to get into, and she makes an insane discovery. She finds inscriptions of the names of those destined to be Toa, which would be Nokama's Toa team, right? Right? Wrong! Instead of her own name on the wall, she sees a different one. Visorak. Her lesbian lover from the earlier episodes. It's all coming together. Moving on to Onua. He and Pooks are in Metru, trying to get more levitation discs for the airships. To get to the disc stash, the heroes need to get past a herd of cane bulls. That pronunciation might be wrong. I'm not sure. I could look it up, but I won't. Anyway, they need to get past them, and Onua's like, oh, I'm just gonna use my mask power. And Pooks is like, yeah, you can't really do that because you don't have a mask anymore. And Onua's like, well, I'm just gonna crush him with rocks then. Pooks is like, calm the fuck down, and Onua's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Pooks eventually manages to get Onua out of his roid rage. Instead, what they decide to do is to agitate a bunch of different animals called rock raptors to try and chase the cane bulls out of there. And it works! Good shit. No need for Hulk mode today. It's really interesting how the Hordika side for all of these Toa is a little bit different. How for Nokama, it's very much a spiritual conflict. For Matau, it's all just, narcissism. And then Onua is just straight up rage. It's not even like Vakama where it's angst. It's just anger. It's fascinating and it's well written. Onua and Pooks manage to make it into the disc stash. But among the discs, they also find a whole bunch of evidence regarding the whole chosen Matoran thing. Onua is, logically, very confused and distraught. Pooks, however, notices something weird. There is a snake in the cave, trying very hard to make itself scarce. But he notices it's not really moving like a snake. It's like doing a bad impression of a slither. So being the animal handler he is, he swiftly captures it. And then it transforms! Yeah, in the weirdest twist so far, it's the fucking Kraka! Weirdly enough, she decides not to fight the Toa, and instead lays the situation bare. She's working for Roodaka. All of this evidence about the Chosen Six is very real, however the Kraka was told by Roodaka to make sure that the Toa found it, so as to throw them off their rhythm! But as it turns out, the Kraka is actually trying to fuck Roodaka over. The Kraka's the last of her kind because her species was wiped out by the Visorak. On to Vakama. He and Rahaga are going back to Metru, where he used to live, because there are parts for the airships in his old mask-making studio. While they're there, Vakama's throwing his old shit around and being like, all I do is destroy, just letting the angst take him. Norik's reaction is basically, oh fuck, because he knows that if Vakama keeps acting like this, the Hordika in him is just gonna get angrier and angrier and take him over faster. But telling Vakama not to be a bitch is a bit like politely asking the tides to not come in on Thursday. Vakama is a bitch, the sun also rises. Anyway, after going full Kyle and punching a hole in the wall, Vakama discovers a secret compartment, wherein he finds a Toa disc. Some of you might remember that this Vakama set came with a disc that had his face on it. I can't find mine, but whatever. That's a Toa disc. But instead of it having his face on it, it has Nuri's face on it. You remember Pee-Pants from the earlier episodes? Yeah, that guy. We are slowly discovering these guys were not meant to be Toa. After finding this disc, Vakama decides to do the only rational thing. Break into Lee Khan's home. So that's exactly what they do. I get that the man is dead, but like, you're already dishonoring his memory in so many fucking ways. Vakama, rightfully, wants to figure out what the fuck is going on. So he finds Lee Khan's journal and takes a look inside and, oh boy, the guy was very clearly being brainwashed by Makuta. Like, it's clear Lee Khan was being gradually influenced to pick different Matoran other than the predestined 6, because Makuta was under the distinct impression that a Toa team made up of Nuri, Tehuti, Eri, Orcam, Akmu, and Visola would be a lot more effective than the Toa team that we actually got. So through the power of some kind of hypnotic suggestion, the Lord of Shadows implanted the idea in Lee Khan's head that he just needed to pick different Matoran. And that's how we ended up here. This twist high-key fucked me up as a kid and low-key as an adult. And the payoff is just, my hair is insane. Whatever, we're running with this. Quick recap. Nuju's getting into birds. Matau's cornered by Visorak. Nokama and Vakama have both found out that they've been hired for the wrong job, as has Onua, who is now kicking it with the Kraka. And Wenua has been taken prisoner by Sidorak. He's about to be sacrificed to the Zevon. What's the Zevon? Oh boy. So you know how the Kagarak have access to the Shadow Realm? One of the things that lives in the Shadow Realm is a giant invincible war scorpion known as a Zevon. It's summoned periodically to just absolutely wreck shit, and then immediately imprisoned back in the Shadow Realm. Now, the reason they don't let it out into the natural world is because aside from it being, like, you know, a terrifying invincible war scorpion, its diet consists mainly of Visorak. Not to make another half-baked Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference, but this is basically like summoning Rocket Arrow Express. If you know, you know. Anyhow, the gang manages to get Matau out of his predicament, and now they're going to go get Wenua. But where the fuck is Onua? Also, why is there a giant dragon riding towards us? Out of fucking nowhere, this dragon rolls in. And who should be riding it other than Onua, Pooks, and the Kraka? They can tell it's the Kraka because she's disguised herself as a second Onua, and that's just, you know, weird. This dragon is known as the Tatarak, and actually looks something like this. I might honestly try and build my own just for fun, because this thing looks gorgeous. The Tatarak is actually capable of speaking limited amounts of Matoran, and it uses these limited amounts of Matoran to yell the phrase, "I want the answer." It's expected that the answer is supposed to be to the question of how the fuck did I get to Metru Nui? Because the Tatarak has no idea how the fuck it got to Metru Nui. And it's crazy because Pooks just sort of knew where to find it. My theory is that the Tatarak is another species that was almost completely wiped out by the Visorak and fled to Metru Nui. Anyway, the gang all pile on to the Tatarak to save Wenua, fuck up some Visorak, and fight the Zevon. Oh, and Bamanga too. He's captured too. I totally forgot about that. There's not enough going on with the Roodaka. I really wish that had been explored a little bit more. He's a hat. So the Toa go to save Wenua and find themselves face to face with Sidorak, an army of Visorak, and a very, very angry Zevon that is not pictured here. Thankfully, they have the Tatarak to even the odds. So there's two battles going on simultaneously. For clarification, this is basically what's going on. The Toa, Hordika, Roodaka, and Kraka are fighting Sidorak and the Visorak, while the Tatarak and the Zevon keep each other busy. The fight seems to be going pretty evenly. But the Kraka notices something. One of the Kagarak is getting ready to launch one of its shadow spinners to banish our Dragon Boy here. And the Kraka knows if that happens, everybody's fucked, because nothing will be able to stop the Zevon. So at the very last second, the Kraka jumps in front of the spinner, body checks it, and at the same time rams into both the Kagarak and the Zevon, banishing all three of them to the Shadow Realm. And in this act of sacrifice, the Kraka proved herself to be a good guy. I do honestly think the development of the character is interesting, because she starts off as this beast in the arc of the Toa Metru, and then in the arc of the Hordika, where the Toa are beasts, she's humanized. Anyway, the battle basically ends with the Toa and the Roodaka being okay, and the Visorak and Sidorak being driven off. You really just deserve nothing. So the Toa end up recapping about the whole, you know, not supposed to be Toa thing. And they basically reach the conclusion of, well, it's too late to make the change now, so we just kind of have to go with the flow. Which I guess is fair. Anyway, you may have guessed what's coming next. Bionicle 3, Web of Shadows. Now, this movie may be the premiere of our gorgeous mommy dumb Roodaka. However, you'd be surprised to find out that not that much happens in the movie. Like, I read the novelization and watched the movie. They're pretty much identical. The movie's only about an hour long. And it's just... you'll see. It's not going to take that long for me to recap this, which means we're that much closer to Time Trap. Oh my fucking god. Time Trap is just so good. You'll see. Anyway, let's recap this movie. Bionicle 3, Pleb of Shadows. The movie begins with the Toa's arrival on Metru Nui, their capture by the Visorak, and their subsequent transformation into Toa Hordika. Honestly, the mutation scene is the best scene in any Bionicle movie. Then the Roodaka are introduced. Mostly just Norik. He has like 95% of all the lines that the Roodaka say. And then what happens next is that the events of the previous novel are glossed over, kind of like what happened in the second movie. It's like barely tied in the novelization, and in the movie it's just completely glossed over. Anyway, Vakama starts acting like a bitch, and he's like, none of you appreciate my leadership, and Matau's like, yeah, of course we don't, Fire Spitter, you're an arsehole! So like any well-adjusted young man with a whole bunch of responsibility, Vakama goes out for a cigarette and never comes back. Meanwhile, the rest of the Toa are trying to reverse their curse. And this, in the movie, is where Norik brings up Kitongu. And Onua says, the key to Nongu? You already know the deal with Kitongu. He may or may not exist. They go looking for him anyway. So Vakama's walking around all angsty and shit, yelling at the wildlife, when he suddenly gets ambushed by Visorak. He wakes up tied up in a dark room, where he meets for the first time Roodaka. At this point, he knows of her. He doesn't know her, though. She unties him, and the whole situation is just very, very sexual. You kind of have to watch the movie yourself to really get this, but her voice is just, Anyway, Roodaka is trying to convince Vakama to join her, and she exploits him very effectively. She first entices him with the promise of loyal followers in the form of the Visorak, while at the same time pitting him against someone who's already an established enemy, Sidorak. She very slyly situates herself as his ally insofar as she says, I don't like Sidorak either, and then at the same time begins to pit him against his Toa friends. The half-beast in Vakama is also taking him over, making him even dumber, so he's not thinking clearly at all, and he's putty in her hands. I just realized I had Roodaka's head all fucked up in the last one. The plan is to get Vakama in Sidorak's good graces, and in order to do that, he's going to make a quasi-offering of sorts. He's going to kidnap the Roodaka. He gets a great opportunity for this when the Toa and the Roodaka have to go to the Great Temple. You remember the situation when Nokama couldn't go into the temple because she was all fucked up about the Hordika shit? Yeah, that's happening to all of them now. But it's worse now because they've been Hordika longer. So Norik and the rest of the Roodaka go into the temple while the Hordika resolve to stand guard. Boy, they really shat the bed on that one. Oh, they're at the Great Temple looking for stuff about Kitongu. I should clarify that. Right, okay, so Vakama kidnaps all of the Roodaka except for Norik, who he leaves behind. He essentially just leaves him there to send the message that, like, fuck all of y'all, I'm with Roodaka now. So the search for Kitongu is extra on now, but the thing is, Norik is worried that they might not be able to reverse all the damage that's already been done to Vakama by the Hordika venom, because he's, like, really fucked up at this point. Hordika venom, man. Not even once. I could be pantsless and you wouldn't even know. Vakama brings the offering to Sidorak and he's like, oh, this pleases me. Okay, so he does have a decent amount of small dick energy in the actual lore, but in the movie, he just radiates it. Absolute cuckatron. It's great because throughout the entire thing, he's trying to make Roodaka his official queen. And she just, like, very clearly doesn't want it, but he's just too stupid to realize, like, that any of this is happening. Instead, he's just like, you know, Vakama, we're not so different, you and I. And you would think that he would catch on when he has to clarify that it's a fucking compliment. But no, he's just an idiot. And Roodaka is loving this because the pieces of her bigger plan are beginning to fall into place. She's made clear that she wants to capture the rest of the Toa as opposed to kill them. What she's not telling Vakama is that it's because she wants all 6 of their elemental energies to break the seal that Makuta is trapped in. Her plan at this point is to get all 6 elemental energies and also dethrone Sidorak. Sidorak's of course privy to the whole Makuta thing. He's just too self-absorbed to give a shit. Boing. While this whole spiel is happening with Vakama, the rest of the gang is looking for Kitongu. And, like, there's no sense overcomplicating this, they find him. He's here because the rest of his species was hunted to extinction by Sidorak and his horde of Visorak, much like the Kraka. The main reason his species was hunted to death was because they could cure Visorak infections, essentially. In case you needed a reminder as to why they were seeking out this human MacGuffin. And I mean, ever since then, he's just been hanging out. Again, there's no sense overcomplicating this. When they ask him for help, at first he kind of plays coy, but he agrees pretty quickly. It's a weird scene. One thing I've never understood is why they consider him a Rahi. Because he, like, speaks Matoran more or less, and he speaks his own language as well. Like, Roodaka's a Vortix, she's a separate species, and she's not considered a Rahi. I don't know why this guy is. Like, with the Kraka, she lived in a hole and hunted people. He's just a badass, super chill medicine man with a really cool staff. Staff are spinny. I still can't get over how dumb this gear function is. Vakama, Sidorak, and Lady Dimitrescu Roodaka are hanging out in their tower when the other Toa bust in at the ground floor. Vakama's like, you're too late, pledge your allegiance to me. Oh, and to Sidorak, right, of course. And the other Toa are just like, no, fuck you. Vakama signals the Visorak to attack, but the Toa are prepared. What they do is they charge up their Rotuka spinners and fire them, and as they fire them, catch them with their weapons and use them to fly. Which feels a little bit like that thing that you can do in GTA 5 where you drive your motorcycle off of Mount Chiliad and pull it backwards so that you're just constantly... Anyway, everyone except Matau distracts and engages with the Visorak. Matau's going after Vakama. But before Vakama can engage Matau, they start hearing a sound on the building. Clang, clang, clang. And they realize it's Kitongu climbing up the side of the building. And Sidorak's like, oh, but Kitongu doesn't exist. And Vakama's like, he's right there, you stupid bitch. Roodaka tells Sidorak to kill Kitongu, knowing full well that he can't. Sidorak says sure, also knowing full well he can't. Oh! Vakama runs off to fight Matau. We'll get to that in a minute. Meanwhile, Sidorak tries to blast Kitangu off the side of the building, and he sucks. Go figure. Roodaka tells him to step the fuck aside and just blasts him off in one shot. Yeah, you softened him up for her, buddy. They go down to check on the body and realize that he's still alive. Sidorak's like, hey, would you like to finish him off? Because you sure as hell never managed to finish her off. Roodaka hands him her staff, telling him to do it. And here comes one of my favorite scenes in the entire Bionicle film series. Sidorak says, but I can't defeat him myself. And Roodaka, in the most patronizing tone of all time, just says, I know, and just leaves. At which point Kitangu gets up and fucking murks Sidorak in one hit. It's so brutal. There's just this crunch of metal and he's fucking dead. To clarify, she did that on purpose. She just barely murdered Kitangu to make him angry so that he would kill Sidorak. Crafty bitch. Just love these fucking things so goddamn much. So Vakama and Matau have what I think qualifies as a pretty sick fight scene. There's like backflips and shit. It's pretty cool. It gets to the point where Matau's dangling off the side of the building. He's about to fucking die. So he says to Vakama, hey, Vakama, remember the Matoran? Remember the thing you fucking came here to do? And Vakama's like, oh shit. So Matau says, if there's any of the old you left, you'll know what to do next. And he jumps. There's a whole sequence of him falling where he's just like, I might have fucked myself. But Vakama swings from a vine and catches his brother, Tarzan style. Matau's like, great, but what now? And Vakama says, don't worry, I have a plan. Meanwhile, the captured Rohaga have been broken out by Norik, and they're helping the Toa Hordika fight off the Visorak. If I remember correctly, it's Onua and Nuju who go to try and find the Matoran capsules under the Colosseum. This part's not in the movie. And they get ambushed by an extra thick Kagarak. Okay, now we're back in the movie. The thick boy, being ridden by Roodaka, corners the Toa. It seems they're fucked. Roodaka, represented here by a stack of Visorak, proclaims her victory over the Toa. At which point Vakama comes in with Matau and's like, here's the last one. Then, in one last defiant effort, 5 of the Toa blast Roodaka with their elemental energy. But she just starts maniacally laughing. And she's like, ha, without your powers combined, you can never defeat me. And I've got fire on my side. And then Vakama's like, well, actually. And blasts her with one last Rotuka spinner. Norik sees through her tricks, though, and tries to get Vakama to stop. But it's too late. Roodaka opens up her chest plating and lets the spinner hit her squarely in the chest. At which point we notice that right in the middle, she has a piece of the Toa seal. You know, the thing that's trapping Makuta. You know, the thing that needs all 6 of the Toa's elemental energies to free the beast. And with that, this loyal servant of Makuta has freed her Dark Master. And is presumed dead, except we find out later that she's not. It's fine. We'll deal with that when the time comes. Any whooz'll be. So the team asks Kitangu to change them back, and he's like, are you sure about that? He says that since they've mastered the beast within, as it were, they could stay Toa Hordika and be relatively comfortable, and have, you know, like a really sick way of channeling elemental energy. But they're all just like, no, please, no, please, no. So the orange boy transforms them back. As they're loading the Matoran into the airships, Norik makes a very profound point to Vakama. He tells him that, like, look, this is going to go down in legend. Every bit of this. What you did is incredible. Despite everything you went through, you saved the universe. Even with all the pressure that's been put on him and that he's put on himself, Vakama for the first time really realizes the scale of what has happened, and how grateful he is for his Toa team. So they depart Metru Nui for one last time, leaving the Rohaga behind to guard it, and to wake up Turaga Duma. Yeah, that becomes important later. But as they're leaving, Vakama realizes, oh fuck, we forgot about the Mask of Time. It's at the bottom of the ocean somewhere, and Makuta's free. I have to go back and get it. Welcome to Time Trap. By the way, I have an orchestral synth album that you need to check out, in case you haven't heard me talk about it already. So there's something I forgot to mention. With Sidorak's death, the leadership of the Visorak Horde is a little bit up in the air. I guess it would sort of have become like a joint thing between Vakama and Roodaka. The thing is, a lot of the Visorak saw what Roodaka did to Sidorak. This stone-cold bitch left Sidorak's pansy ass to die. And while the Visorak are basically just a collection of 4-legged authoritarian ass-kissing bootlicking simps, they do have some choice as to who they obey. And the thing is, most of them don't like Roodaka. Like, Sidorak was kind of cruel, but he also wasn't the worst. Roodaka would kill Visorak for fun. But now that Sidorak's gone, she's not technically anybody's viceroy, and they don't have to listen to her. So they all kind of chose Vakama's side, and he just sets them free. Opa Aladdin style. He basically says, I only lead those who choose to follow. That's the difference between a leader and a tyrant. Good shit, Greg.